Good morning, students. We are going to discuss about the formation of p-n junction diode. After that, we are going to study the biasing of the p-n junction diode, and we are going to study the VI characteristics of p-n junction diode in this video lecture. Formation of p-n junction diode, we have discussed in the last class. Some part of the formation of p-n junction diode we have discussed in the last class. Anyway, I am going to explain in detail in this class. After that, we are going to study the biasing of p-n junction diode. We are going to study the voltage and current characteristics of p-n junction diode. In the last class, I have given the standard statement for the p-n junction diode, standard definition for the p-n junction diode or simple diode. Diode stands for di plus electrode. Diode stands for di plus electrode. Di means two, electrodes nothing but anode and cathode. Di means two, electrodes, di means two, and electrodes nothing but anode and cathode. A semiconductor device or component which is having the two electrodes is named as diode. Here we have to discuss about the p-n junction diode. P-n junction diode. That means what? On a silicon wafer, by dividing that silicon wafer into the equal halves, in one equal half we need to form the p semiconductor material. In another half semiconductor we need to form the n type semiconductor material. So that by taking one silicon wafer, we are dividing into the half. Into one half, we are forming the p-type semiconductor. In another half, we are forming the n-type semiconductor. So that the resultant will be p-n junction, not it is a diode. Diode means it requires to have the two electrodes. After formation of p-n junction, to convert into the diode, we need to add the two electrodes. One is anode and another one is cathode. The electrode which is connected to the more positive charge is called anode. The electrode which is connected to the more negative charge is called the cathode. So that I am going to give the formation of p-n junction. p-n junction. This is assume that it is a silicon wafer. It is a silicon wafer. We are dividing that silicon wafer into two equal halves. Into this first material, this is a silicon. The total material is silicon. This is also silicon. Silicon is a semiconductor material whose atomic number is 14. Whose atomic number is 14. So that it can have the 14 number of electrons. 14 number of electrons it can have. So, but in the outermost orbit, for example, it is silicon atom, 14 electrons are there. In the first orbit, they can allocate the 2 electrons. In the second orbit, they can have the 8 electrons. In the second orbit, that can have the 8 electrons. 2 plus 8 is 10, and we require to have the 14, so that outermost orbit, that is third orbit, can have the 4 more electrons. So that here first orbit is having the 2 electrons, second orbit is having the 8 electrons, and whereas this third orbit is having the 4 electrons only. And these 4 electrons named as valence electrons. The number of electrons in any orbit can be calculated by using a formula that is called 2n square, where n is nothing but number of orbit. If the first orbit we require to allocate maximum of 2 electrons only, maximum of 2. First orbit means 2 into 1 square. We are taking n is equals to 1, so that 2 into 1 square, that is equals to 2 only. If you take the second orbit, the maximum number of electrons that can allocate, that is 2 into number of orbit is 2, so that 2 square is nothing but 4. 4 into 2, that is 8. So that total 8. Out of 14, 2 plus 8 is completed and remaining 4 are there. That means what? The silicon is a semiconductor material. which is having the 4 valence electrons. From this, we can define one important point is that if an element is having 4 exactly valence, 4 number of valence electrons, then that material is classified as a semiconductor. Now it is having 4 valence electrons, so that whenever an element is having the 4 valence electrons, then that is classified as a semiconductor. Now it is having the 4 valence electrons. Each atom of silicon is having the 4 valence electrons, so that if it gets the 4 more valence electrons from other element, it makes the covalent bond. And here also, this is also silicon, so that each atom in the silicon is having the 4 valence electron, so that if any element is giving the 4 more valence electrons, and these 4 electrons of silicon and 4 electrons of some other element will make the covalent band to get the stability. And by using this process, we are going to add some of the impurities to the 2 halves of a silicon. We are adding some impurities. Adding the impurities to a semiconductor is called doping. The process of adding impurities to the pure semiconductor is called doping. Now what we are doing? We are using a process that is called doping, adding the impurities to the pure semiconductor is called doping. Now we are using a doping to form it into either p-type semiconductor or n-type semiconductor, so that by taking the pure semiconductor that is silicon, we are using the process is doping, so that a resultant semiconductor will be either p-type semiconductor or n-type semiconductor. You should remember this point. We are having the pure semiconductor in one hand, to which we are adding some impurities, so that the resultant semiconductor will be either p-type semiconductor or n-type semiconductor, so that here we can get either p-type semiconductor or n-type semiconductor based on the doping, and here also we can get either p-type semiconductor or n-type semiconductor based on the doping. But we are going to form what? P-N junction diode. P-N junction, that means what? First material must be P and the next material must be N, so that we are going to form in the first half P-type semiconductor, in the second half we are going to form the N-type semiconductor, so that here in the process of adding the impurities to the pure semiconductor, we are using the elements are called trivalent elements. Whatever the elements we are adding to the first half of the silicon semiconductor, that are a trivalent element. That means what? Tri means 3. Trivalent elements means tri means 3. That means these are the elements which can have the valence electrons are 3. Which can have the 3 valence electrons, and so that here this requires the 4 and it is giving only 3, so that 4 to 3 will make the covalent band. 1 electron will be empty, so that 1 electron will be empty. That makes the covalent bond with the one empty position, that is called hole. I hope I am clear here. Silicon is having the 4 valence electrons. By using the trivalent elements, that trivalent element is giving only 3 valence electrons, and 4 to 3 makes the covalent band. 1 electron will be empty. It requires to form the covalent band, then only it will be stable, so that it makes the covalent band with the absence of electron, that is named as hole. So that each atom of silicon is going to give the hole. Hole is a positive charge, so that charge of the hole is nothing but positive. Here this is having positive. Each atom of silicon is having one excess electron, so that it makes a covalent bond with the hole, so that this is a hole, so that this is having hole. Hole is what? Which charge it is? It is a positive charge. Now it is a positive charge, so that this complete material is positively charged, more positive than the negative. So that here, what are the more charges are there? Here the more charges are holes, and the less charges are electrons, so that this is possessing the more positive charge. This is possessing the more positive charge. That positive charge is represented with P. That means it is a semiconductor material which is having more positive, so that this type of semiconductor is named as P-type semiconductor. P-type semiconductor. This is P-type semiconductor. And here we are going to have the second half of the silicon material, and into the second half of the silicon material we are going to add the impurities. That impurities are pentavalent impurities. Pentavalent impurities. Penta means 5. The elements which are having 5 valence electrons are named as pentavalent elements, and that elements are added to the silicon, where the silicon requires to have the 4 more valence electron to make the covalent band, but this element is giving 5, so that 5 to 4 makes the covalent band. One electron of this pentavalent element will be free, so that it will create, so that each pentavalent element create one free electron, so that this material will have the more negative than the positive, so that this charge of this electron is negative, so that it is having more negative than the holes, and here this is having the more negative than the holes, so that this type of material here it is having the more negative, so that this type of material is named as N-type semiconductor. This is P-type semiconductor, and this one is N-type semiconductor. In P-type semiconductor we have to define the majority and minority charge carriers. In the P-type semiconductor, the charges are, which charges are more? Holes are more, so that holes are named as majority charge carriers, and electrons are named as minority charge carriers. Electrons are minority charge carriers, because in the P-type semiconductor more positive charges are there than the electrons, so that holes are named as majority charge carriers and electrons are named as minority charge carriers. Coming to here now, in the N-type semiconductor, that is having the more electron than the holes, so that in the N-type semiconductor we can write, in the N-type semiconductor electrons are, in the N-type semiconductor electrons are the majority charge carriers and the holes are the minority charge carriers. Now it is one type of semiconductor, that is P-type semiconductor. That is another semiconductor, that is N-type semiconductor. In between the P and N we are having one line, that is a common meeting point, that is named as junction. Now it is P-N junction, not diode. It is simple P-N junction only. Diode means what? It is an electronic component which requires to have the 2 electrodes, anode and cathode. There is no anode and cathode, so that it is simply P-N junction only. So that I am concluding this one, the formation of the P-N materials. P can be composed, P can be formed with the, by taking the N-type, by taking the silicon material, we are adding trivalent impurities to the silicon material, such that is giving the more holes than the electrons, so that is having the more positive charge due to the holes, and that type of semiconductor is named as P-type semiconductor. In case of N-type semiconductor, in remaining half we are doping with the pentavalent element. Pentavalent elements are with the 5 valence electrons, so that 4 to 5 takes the covalent band, 1 electron will be a free electron, so that in N-type semiconductor electrons are more than the holes, so that here electrons are named as majority charge carriers and holes are named as minority charge carriers. The common junction, the common point between the P material and N material, it is a meeting point between the P material and N material, we can call it is a junction, so that it is a P-N junction, but we have to discuss P-N junction diode. Diode stands for die plus electrode. It is a semiconductor component or device which can have the 2 electrodes, anode and cathode. The electrode which is connected to the positive charge is named as anode. The electrode which is connected to the negative charge is called cathode. So that I am going to have the P-N junction diode now. By taking the same structure, I am going to have the PN junction diode. This is P-type semiconductor. This is N-type semiconductor. And here we are having the junction. This is PN junction now. In the P-type semiconductor, holes are more, so that majority charge carriers are here. Holes in P-type semiconductor, majority charge carriers are holes. In the P-type semiconductor, minority charge carriers are electrons. In case of N-type semiconductor, majority charge carriers are electrons and the minority charge carriers are holes. Then we are going to have the PN junction, so that we are adding the two electrodes to the two semiconductors. One we are connecting, we are adding to the P-type semiconductor, another one we are adding to the N-type semiconductor, so that the electrode which is connected to the P-type semiconductor is named as anode. The electrode which is connected to the N-type semiconductor is named as cathode, and this is about here the electrodes made with the metal, and whereas this is semiconductor, this is a metal and it is a semiconductor, this is a metal and it is a semiconductor. Whenever we are connecting metal and the semiconductor, whenever we are connecting the metal to the semiconductor, we require to have one particular contact, that is called ohmic contact, and that is a connection, that is a contact between the semiconductor and the metal, so that always electrodes will be formed with metals. This is a metal or a conductor. It is nothing but metal is nothing but a conductor, and here also metal, this is also a conductor, and we are connecting the conductor to the semiconductor, and these contacts are named as, these two contacts are named as ohmic contact. These two contacts are named as ohmic contacts. Now we can call it is a PN junction diode. PN junction diode, nothing but it is having the two electrodes, anode and cathode. Now it is having the two electrodes, anode and cathode, so that now we can call it is a PN junction diode. Now the formation of the PN junction diode is completed. Then whenever it forms the PN junction, then what will happen across the junction, we have to study now. Now I am going to discuss about the another important topic in the consequence to this particular PN junction diode formation. Then whenever we are forming the PN junction, then what exactly is going to happen across the junction, we must study, that is concept of depletion layer. This is very, very important. Depletion layer is also called as barrier. Depletion layer is also called as barrier, so that this depletion layer definition is very, very important in the examination point of view. Now I am going to have the same structure. This is PN junction, this is P and this is N. And I am going with the PN junction only. In the P material, the holes are majority charge carrier. That means it is having the more holes. And here N-type semiconductor, I am going with the same charges, that is holes are less here. That means with respect to the holes, I am analyzing the PN junction. In the P-type semiconductor, holes are more, whereas in the N-type semiconductor, holes are less, so that it is existing the concentration gradients. That means what? This is having the more holes than this one. That means P-type semiconductor is having the more holes than the N-type semiconductor, whereas N-type semiconductor is having the more electrons than the P-type semiconductor. So that here there is a concentration gradient. There is a concentration gradient between the P-type semiconductor and N-type semiconductor, because the P-type is having the more holes. In case of N-type semiconductor, it is having the less holes, so that whatever this is having the more holes, this wanted to diffuse from P side to N side, because it is having the more positive, so that they wanted to diffuse from P side to N side to get the equilibrium. Whereas in case of electrons are more in N-type semiconductor, they wanted to move from N side to P side, so that to get the equilibrium. Here it is electrons are more, and in case of p-type semiconductor electrons are less, so that there existing the concentration gradient between the p and n material, so that electrons are wanted to diffuse from n side to p side, whereas holes are wanted to diffuse from p side to n side. So that holes wanted to diffuse from p side to n side, electrons are wanted to diffuse from n side to p side, so that they are going to have the recombination of electron and hole across the junction. There is a recombination of electron and hole. Electrons are going to combine with the hole, recombination of electron and hole, so that converts into the immobile ions. So that due to that immobile ions, the one particular layer will be depleted across the junction on both sides. That means what? Here holes are moving towards, holes are diffusing from p side to n side, where in n-type semiconductor electrons are more, so that this hole will move to the n-type, so that where the electrons are ready to recombine with hole, so that going to have the electron and hole recombination, such that it will convert as a positive immobile ion. So that by taking the electron, it converts into the, by taking the electron, it converts into the positive immobile ion. By giving the electron, that will convert into the negative immobile ion. So that here, by this hole is moving towards here and this electron is coming here, so that there is a combination of electron and hole recombination, such that they forms the one depletion layer across the junction on both sides, which is going to stop the further flow of electron from one side to another side, further flow of hole from one side to another side, so that region is called as, that layer is named as depletion layer. The mainly depletion layer is due to two things. In the p-n junction, there has been existing one concentration gradient between the p and n material, so that holes wanted to diffuse from p side to n side, and electrons are wanted to diffuse from n side to p side. Due to this concentration gradient, there is a recombination of electron and hole. Due to this recombination of electron and hole, there is a positive immobile ions in the n-type semiconductor, negative immobile ions in the p-type semiconductor will be depleted across the junction on both sides, such that a layer is formed across the junction on the both sides of the p and n material, such that this depletion layer stops the further flow of electrons from n side to p side, further flow of holes from p side to n side. That means what? The depletion layer stops the further flow of electrons from n side to p side and the further flow of holes from p side to n side. It is acting as a barrier for the charge flow, so that it is also named as barrier. It is acting as a barrier. It is acting as a wall, so that it can stop further flow of electrons from n side to p side and p side to n side, such that forms a layer, and that layer is named as depletion layer. Depletion layer is nothing but a layer is depleted across the junction on both sides of the p and n material, and which is going to stop the further flow of charge carriers from one side to another side, and this layer is named as depletion layer. So that in order to make the movement, in order to make the electrons move from one side to another side, or holes move from p side to n side, we require to make, first of all, this depletion region has to be removed. Depletion region has to be zero, then only holes will move from p side to n side, electrons will move from n side to p side. So that until we have the depletion layer, the p-n junction diode cannot conduct any current. To have the current from the p-n junction, first of all we have to make this depletion region is to be disappear, then only we can conduct the current through the p-n junction diode. So that the depletion layer is very, very important. When we are forming the p-n junction, there is a concentration gradient between the p and n material. The p is having the more positive charges, n is having the less positive charges, so that Holes wanted to diffuse from p side to n side, and electrons wanted to diffuse from n side to p side, and due to this diffusion there is a electron and hole recombination. Due to that forms the immobile ions across the junction on the both the p and n materials, so that it depletes a layer across the junction on both sides. That layer stops the further flow of charge carriers from one side to another side. If you wanted to make the charge carriers to move from one side to another side, first we have to apply the voltage such that the depletion region has to be disappear, then only it conducts the current. This is the formation of depletion layer. So that depletion layer will have the voltage, and that voltage is represented as depletion voltage is this is a layer. This layer is having the voltage. That voltage is named as depletion voltage or a barrier potential. In general, barrier potential of a silicon PN junction diode, that is 0.6 volt. If this diode is made with the germanium and this is same, is about 0.2 volts. That means what? Here this is having the voltage barrier potential of 0.6 volts. Then whenever we apply the 0.6 volts, then only this barrier will be disappear. Then only it can flow it can allow the charge carriers to move one side to another side. If it is germanium PN junction diode, the barrier potential is about 0.2. If we apply the 0.2 volts as a biasing voltage, then only this depletion region will be disappear, and it allows the charge carriers will move from one side to another side. Here very important point is that if we apply the voltage to the PN junction diode, that is equals to the barrier potential, then only the PN junction diode ready for the current conduction. If you are applying less than the barrier potential as the biasing voltage, the PN junction diode is not going to conduct the current. As the definition of the semiconductor is what? The semiconductor is a material, it conducts the current. Sometimes it don't conduct the current in some other time. So that if you take the example of PN junction diode, the same PN junction diode up to the 0.6 volts there is no current, and beyond the 0.6 volts and there is a current. So that same material, sometimes it is conducting the current, in other times it is not conducting the current. And the PN junction diode can be operated in the two biasing methods. One is forward bias and another one is reverse bias. In forward bias, the PN junction diode conducts the well amount of current. In the reverse bias, the PN junction diode is not going to conduct any current. That means what? The PN junction diode is allowing the current in forward bias, whereas it is not conducting the current in reverse bias. And this property of PN junction diode is named as unilateral property. It can allow the current in one direction, in another direction it is not going to conduct the current, and this property is named as unilateral property. By using the unilateral property, the PN junction diode widely used in the process of rectification. Rectification is nothing but it is a process of converting AC to DC. In a AC it is having the positive and negative charges, and during the only positive charges only PN junction diode is conducts the current, so that this AC will be converted into the direct current, such that the main component in the rectifier circuit is a PN junction diode. Because the PN junction diode conducts the current in one direction only, then we have to study how the PN junction diode conducts the current in one direction in the VI characteristics or the operation of PN junction diode. Then I am going with the another one, that is next one is biasing of PN junction diode. In this class we have discussed formation of PN junction diode, in which we have studied what is the p-type material, what is the n-type material, how they form, and after that how the PN junction diode is formed, that is two electrodes how we connected. After that how the depletion layer can be formed across the junction in the PN junction, and after that we are going to talk about the biasing of PN junction diode. Biasing of PN junction diode. This is one more important thing we need to study in the case of complete electronic devices. Biasing is nothing but applying external DC voltage to the any electronic component or a device is called biasing. We are applying some external DC voltage to the electronic device, and that process is called as biasing. So that to the PN junction diode we can connect the external DC voltage in two ways, and that two ways are named as forward bias and the reverse bias. And so that the PN junction diode can be connected in two biasings. First one is named as forward bias, and the next one is named as reverse bias. In forward bias, positive of the PN junction diode, positive or the anode of the PN junction diode is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, whereas cathode of the PN junction diode is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. That is called forward bias. In case of reverse bias, anode of the PN junction diode is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, whereas cathode of the PN junction diode is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. That is called a reverse bias. In simple manner I am explaining. This is PN junction diode. Assume that this is P and N, it is a junction and it is having the two electrodes, anode and cathode. This is anode and this is cathode. When the anode of the PN junction diode is connected to the positive and the cathode of the PN junction diode is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, this is nothing but battery or voltage. So that this biasing is named as forward bias. Anode of the PN junction diode is connected to the positive terminal, cathode of the PN junction diode is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, then that biasing is named as forward bias. And reverse bias, you can easily define this one. The same PN junction diode, and these two are the electrodes, anode and cathode. Now anode is connected to the negative terminal of the battery and cathode is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, then this is named as reverse bias. With this we can know that the PN junction diode can be connected in the two ways. One is forward bias and another one is reverse bias. In the next class we are going to examine the behavior of a PN junction diode in the forward bias and the reverse bias. That is nothing but VI characteristics of PN junction diode. We are going to study in the coming class, we are going to study the operation of the PN junction diode in the forward bias and the operation of the PN junction diode in the reverse bias. And after studying the operation of the PN junction diode in the forward bias and the reverse bias, we are going to plot the same things into a one graph, and that graph is named as VI characteristics of PN junction diode. That is nothing but verifying the Ohm's law, or we are going to find the relation between the voltage and currents of the PN junction diode. Thank you.